Hi, my name is Brian Bethel, and this is my review of Star Wars X-Wing the miniature game. And I'm going to dedicate this video to Axel Wayne Wiemer, who is a big fan of Star Wars. He's been a big fan his whole entire life. He loves Star Wars games, so this is for Axel Wayne Wiemer, and this is the Star Wars X-Wing miniature game. Alright, here we go. Alright, so this is the Star Wars X-Wing miniature game. Alright, and the Star Wars X-Wing miniature game is a game about miniatures. So you have, of course, the Rebels and the Imperials, and they move around on the board. Each one of these fighters or ships, have different point values. You use that point value to put more than one ship, so you can put like 2 TIE fighters versus an X-Wing. These ships have different abilities, they have different ways to attack. Some of the ships, all the ships come with different cards. And these cards all have a point value on them. So this is an A-Wing. So the A-Wing has 17 points. The A-Wing, this one here, is a prototype pilot. It's got a piloting skill of 1 with an attack of 2, an agility of 3, a hull of 2, and shields of 2. Now, how this works is you have an attack of 2. So the attack of 2, you have 2 attack dice. And on these attack dice, they have regular hits. These are just normal regular hits. Then they have a critical hit, and a critical hit will actually do major damage to the ship. It could end up making the ship go on fire. It might actually give extra damage and blow up the ship. The critical ship does a whole bunch of extra stuff. Then you have your focus. Different ships have different abilities. Your focus ability will maybe add, more attack or any number of things. It all depends on what you put on your ship. And then you have just a miss. So this means actually nothing if anything rolls on those. So you have your hit, your crit, and then your focus. Okay? So that's your attack dice. They're red. They correspond with your attack on your ship. So your ship being a 2, he would be able to roll 2 attack dice. If you look at the X-Wing, now the X-Wing, let's turn it around. Your X-Wing has an attack of 3. So the X-Wing would use 3 attack dice instead of 2. Where if you look at like Darth Vader's ship, real quick, Darth Vader's ship has an attack of just 2. Ooh, it's really hard to see. Sorry about the shadows. But if you see the red? So Darth Vader only has an attack of 2. So he would only be able to roll 2 dice instead of 3. So when he attacks, he only does the 2. Alright, and then the next number that you see down there is green, and that's your agility. That's how much the ship can dodge. Okay? And then your dodge dice, they look like this. These are your dodge dice. Or your agility dice, I mean. So all of your dice, all of these have misses, so they don't do anything on there. Then a little squiggly line like this, these are dodges. So if they roll that, they dodge. So if you see like a hit dice, so that hits, this hits, and then you have the dodge, so then the dodges, these two both cancel each other out and mean nothing. Then like this would, if that was a hit, that with that dodge would cancel out nothing, go into nothing. So then let's say you rolled a 0, and the attacker still rolled another hit. So it looks like that. You have a hit, a hit, a hit, a dodge, and then you have a miss. Well, that miss means that this hit gets through. So out of the 3 dice, you would have 1 attack would actually make it through and hit the ship. So you got the 3 dodge dice, and then you have your hit dice. That's what these 2 colors mean. The red hit, the green is dodge. the yellow is your hull, so that's how much health points that your ship has. So like on your X-Wing, it's got 3 hull. So with it having 3 hull, it's got 3 HP. And then it's also got 2 shields. Your shields go, anytime you take any damage, it does your shields first. So it has your shields, which are represented with these tokens. So you have 2 shields with your X-Wing, right? Now, every time you take a hit, your shield goes down first, then your second shield will go down, then it goes to the yellow number, and the yellow number is your hull. Once the yellow number reaches 0, your ship is blown up, game over, it goes off the board. The other guy wins. Alright? And then I'll show you a couple different cards that I have here. These are all just A-Wings. These are all the different A-Wings that I have. You know, and different pilots. So like this, Arvel Sinrid is an A-Wing pilot with a piloting skill of 6. This A-Wing pilot is a prototype pilot. He's only got an ability of 1. So 6 moves first. So this guy would be able to move before this guy because his piloting skill is 6. His piloting skill is 1. So he gets to move first. And then, here we go. Then you have, then here we go. Then we got the 23. So he's got a pilot, or this card, or this ship costs 23 points. Where this ship only costs 17. So for this guy to come out, you need to have 23 points. Well, if you're working on a game where you only have a beginning starting point value of 50, you're only going to be able to bring out 2 A-Wings. Where if you had a 50 point game, you would be able to bring out 3. 1, 2, 3, 17, 21. Okay. Well, maybe a bad idea, but you get the idea. So you have that. Okay. So then we have other ships. We have more A-Wings. Then I have some X-Wings. These are all just different, Wedge, Luke Skywalker. They have a different point value of 28 and 29. Here's a Biggs with a point value of 25. Then we have, Grevenduris, Red Squadron. Here's Rookie Pilots. Rookie Pilots. He's only got 21. So the X-Wings cost a lot of points to bring out. Here's some Y-Wings. We have Y-Wing here with a 25 value. Here's another Gold Squadron with only 18. Here's Dutch Vandier. Dutch Vandier has a 23. So he's he's a little bit more of a stronger pilot, and his piloting skill is 6, where Gold Squadron is only 2. So with his being higher, he of course has more points to bring out. And then here's Gray Squadron. Gray Squadron only has 4, but costs 20 to bring out. Then here we have the YT-33, or also known as the Millennium Falcon. And it's Han Solo. Han Solo has 9 points, or his piloting skill is 9, and he costs 46. So see, 46 versus 18. If you were doing a 50-point game, Han Solo would be your only character you'd be able to bring out, because he's all 46 points out of 50, versus being able to bring out like 3 of these guys, the Gold Squadrons. Okay, so then this is just Chewbacca. Chewbacca is 42 versus 46, piloting skill of 5 versus a piloting skill of 6. Then there's Lando Calrissian, who is a piloting skill of 7, with a point value of 44. And then we got here is the Outer Rim Smuggler. He's got only a piloting skill of 1, but point value of 27. Then here's some B-Wings. This is just a regular pilot with 2 piloting skill, but 22. So you see, the Millennium Falcon is still a much higher point value. And then here's some more B-Wings with the Dagger Squadron. So they have a squadron, or a piloting skill of 4. and 24, and just like here with 3 attacks, so he would be rolling 3 attack dice, and he would only be defending with 1. Because see, if you look, he's got 1 agility. So if somebody shoots at him, he only gets to defend with 1 dice, and that's it. So then you have the B-Wing with a 2, and the B-Wing only has 2 agility. And then the Dagger Squadron pilot has a B-Wing of 4. So, and we have a couple other B-Wings, so different guys along the way. And then we have the Hawk 290. The Hawk 290, that is a video game character, so he's from the expanded universe. And he's just a rebel operative. He's got a piloting skill of 2 with 16. The rank Garnet, Rourke Garnet, has piloting of 4 and a 9. This ship only has 1 shield, 2 or 4 hull, agility of 2. So unlike the B-Wing, whose agility is 1, he's got an agility of 2, so it means he can roll 2 defensive dice, but he only gets 1 attack. So he's only got 1 attack dice versus the B-Wing, who has 3 attack dice. So they got the 3 of them. Okay. And then there's just more little things, a couple more stuff. These are just some more pilots. He's got a piloting skill of 8, 25 points. Kyle's from the expanded universe. Well, they're all from the expanded universe, but Kyle was the guy that was in the video game, Kyle Katarn, with 6 and 21. And then I have here in the back of the book, I have all of my TIE fighters. So I have all the different TIE fighters, and I have like the Black Squadron TIE fighter. Black Squadron was only got a piloting skill of 4, but look at how cheap they are. They're only 14. That's why you can bring out a whole bunch of these guys. If you had a 50-point game, you can bring out 3, 4 of them. Depending on how you end up working out your points, you can bring out just a squadron of these guys. That's why I have 4 of them. So if I brought out 4 of them, you can go and just bring out just wave of guys onto the board. Here's the Academy pilot. He's only got a 12, and a 1 piloting skill, 1 piloting skill, 12. He's got no shields, 3 hull, 3 agility. So you do the 3 agility dice, and then you'd only have 2 attack dice because see where it's red? So he's only got the 2 attack dice and 3 agility. So they're all about the dodge. Okay. And just here's some more, just a whole bunch more TIE fighters that I have. The Obsidian Squadron, different point value. So he's got 30 with the Obsidian. Here's Night Beast. Night Beast is one of my more favorite. I always bring this guy out whenever I'm fighting or using the Imperial side, because Night Beast is really cool. He's got 5 piloting skill, 15 points. Dark Curse isn't too bad. He's got 6. He costs a little bit more, 16, Dark Curse. And then there's the Academy. And then Muller Mythal is really nice. Muller Mythal has a piloting skill of 7. He costs a little bit more than the regular TIE Fighter at 12. The TIE Fighter is at 12, so he's a little bit more expensive. But he has 2 attack dice with agility. But then his card says, when attacking at range 1, roll an additional attack dice. So if you see the red, so he's got red of 2, so he only uses 2 attack dice. If he's within 1 range of the other ship, he gets a 3rd attack dice. So he gets a buff just for being close to the other guy while he's attacking. So that's really nice. And then you have other, like here's Darth Vader. Here's the TIE Advanced Darth Vader with 9. And then 29. Here's another Darth Vader card. Here's Kyle Style. Or Kyle Style. I don't even know what I just said. The Merrick Style. And Merrick has a 7 and a point value of 21. Then here is a Bounty Hunter ship, which is the Fire Spray 31. It only has 3 piloting skill and 33 points. So almost as much as Darth Vader, just to bring out the basic pilots. This pilot is just a basic guy. Then you have, other pilots. Here's Boba Fett with a fire spray with a 39. So much higher than, 27. So he's got 39 here. He's got 3 attack dice. He's got 2 agility, 6 hull, 4 shields. So Boba Fett's ship is pretty powerful. He's got, 7 piloting skills, 8 piloting skills. And they can also drop bombs, which is really cool. Dropping bombs on people is always fun. Then here's just the regular TIE bomber. Here's another TIE bomber. Major Rhymes with a piloting skill of 7 with 26 points. And then here is the Lambda class shuttle. With a piloting skill of 7, and point value of 26. Colonel Jensen, Captain York. These are all just a bunch of, Lambda shuttle pilots and cards that I have for all my TIE fighters. So these are my Imperial Navy ships that I have. And then what I'm going to do is kind of real quick explain how movement is done. Okay, so in X-Wing, you have 2, facing off ships, right? So you have this ship, which is the Darth Vader. Then you have like Luke Skywalker's ship. All right, and then you have your little dials. So each one of these have a dial. And at the beginning of your turn, what you do is you would pick up your dial. You'll look for a movement. So let's see. Let's have Luke Skywalker is going to move forward. So he's going to move forward 1. So you've chosen your move for Luke Skywalker. Then you put your chip down so nobody else on the board can see. Now the second player will look at their thing and they're going to move, through their dial and figure out what they want to do. And what we're going to do, since the TIE fighters can only move forward 2, we're going to have the TIE fighter move forward 2. So, sorry, a TIE advanced. So Darth Vader is going to move forward 2 on the board. So they're out here on the board. So now what you do is then you look at your pilot. So we have right now, we have Wedge Antilles. And Wedge Antilles is a 9 piloting skill. Okay, and then we have a 6 piloting skill. All right, so the 6 piloting skill ends up moving first, and the 9 moves second. But then when they go to attack, the 6 guy, he attacks second. The 9-point value, so the higher points, they move last and they attack first. Okay? So now what we do is, since he's going to be moving first, we are going to have him move forward 2. And since he's going to be moving forward 2, just real quick, have you put the marker down, so that represents a 2 movement forward. So then you put it at the front, and then you move it to the back. So now he's there. So that's the end of his turn. You move that away. He's moved forward, so he was back here. Now he's forward 2. So that was his 2 movement. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have here with the X-Wing, and then the X-Wing, he will go forward 1. So the movement 1 is represented by this little piece, and there's multiple pieces. There's a 3, here's a turn, here's another sharp turn, here's a 2, here's a sharp turn 3. There's a ton of different movements to represent everything that's on this dial. So then the 1, what you do is you move this right up into the front of the ship, so it's nice and snug. Then you move it forward 1, and then you set it down until it's nice and snug to the back of the ship. So now it's moved forward a total of 1. So now if you see, they're much closer to each other than they were before. Before they were really far away. Then what you do is now, once you're in attack range, and see the firing arc is the red triangle, the firing arc is the green triangle. So the red, you do right on your ship. So you put it towards the front of the ship. So you count out 1, 2, and he's within the 2. So this ship is within a 2 range. And then let's look at the range of the Imperial ship. So the Imperial ship is 1, of course 2. They're both in the exact same range of each other, so they're both within 2. Now what happens is the Imperial or the Rebel pilot, he gets to shoot forward first, and since he's shooting, he gets to attack with a total of 3 dice. Let's see why it's out of focus. There it is. So he's got the 3. So we're going to put down 3 dice for him. Okay. And then the Imperial pilot gets 2 or 3 agility. So he has 1, 2, 3 agility dice. And then what happens is the person that's attacking, he takes his dice, you shake them up, throw them down on the table. And right now I have a 1 hit. So there's 1 hit. I have a focus, which, and for this time we're not going to do anything with a focus. And I have a complete miss. So right now I've only hit the ship 1 time. So that ship only has 1 hit. All right. Then you take your dice, and then you roll your dodge dice, and then dodge. We actually have a dodge here. We have another dodge here, and then we have a focus. So the focuses mean nothing. The dodge ends up dodging. So this attack with the dodge cancels each other out. So Darth Vader actually takes no hits this round. So then we now turn over to the next round, or the next player, who is the 6. The 6 goes for the attack, so he's now within range 2 of the X-Wing. His attack power is a 2, so he only gets to use 2 attack dice. So Darth Vader gets to use 2 attack dice, and then the X-Wing only has a dodge of 2. So the X-Wing has 2 attack dice, or dodge dice. So then you have Darth Vader will go first. He will roll, and he rolls a hit. So he ends up getting 1 hit on the X-Wing. Okay, so he's got the 1 hit, and then there's the miss. We'll put that over here. And now it's the X-Wing's turn to dodge. So he goes, and then he dodges. See, then he dodges the hit. So the hit doesn't go through because the dodge and the hit cancel each other out. So neither ship takes damage this round. So now we're going to go to round number 2. Now let's just say they're both again in range, wherever they're at. They're both going to shoot each other. This time let's put them real close. So now they're real close to each other. All right, so the X-Wing is with, how close is the X-Wing? The X-Wing right now is a total of 1. So he's within 1 range of the Darth Vader ship. So he still, with the red, still gets 3 attack dice, but because he's within 1, he gets an additional attack dice. So he has a total of 3 attack dice for this round of attacking, where the X-Wing, or the X-Wing, the TIE Fighter, he still gets only his 3. So he has his 3 attack or 3 dodge dice. So the attack always rolls first. So you take your dice, you go in, and you roll them, and now I got a hit, another hit, and a crit. Okay, so this time I have 1 hit, 2 hits, and a crit, all on Darth Vader's ship. So Darth Vader's ship has 3 hits against it. So let's see if Darth Vader can dodge. So then you take your dice, you throw them down, and Darth Vader only has 1 dodge, a miss, and a focus, which means miss. So we'll take the dodge. Well, the dodge takes the critical away. So these 2 match up, they go away. Darth Vader still takes 2 hit. So Darth Vader had 3 hull. Now Darth Vader only has 1 hull left. So with him only having 1 hull left, Darth Vader's in trouble. He might die this next turn. But now it's Darth Vader's turn to shoot back. And with Darth Vader being able to shoot, Darth Vader's within 1 range of Luke Skywalker. Darth Vader has an attack of 2 dice, so he gets to roll 2 dice, but because he's within 1 range, he gets a 3rd dice. So now Darth Vader gets to attack with 3, Luke Skywalker, he has a dodge of 2, so he only gets to use 2 dodge dice. So let's see how Darth Vader does. Darth Vader rolls for his attack. Okay, so Darth Vader rolled for his attack. And now on Darth Vader's attack, he has 1 hit, 2 hits, and a miss. So Luke Skywalker has a total of 2 hits against his ship. And then 1 miss, of course. So now Luke Skywalker, he gets to roll his 2 agility dice to see if he dodges any of these. So now he rolls, and he dodges 1, because there's 1 miss and 1 hit. So you go down here, and then so you have 1 hit and 1 miss. So these both go away. The miss goes away, so he takes 1 hit. So Luke Skywalker takes 1 hit to his shields. So instead of Luke Skywalker having 2 shields, now Luke Skywalker only has 1 shield. So Luke Skywalker is still doing okay. You know, Darth Vader, he's only got 1 health left. So Darth Vader's on fire. He's all like messed up. He doesn't know if he's going to live the next round. So now let's go on to the next round. So the ships move around again. Now we're back into firing range. So now we're in your play firing range, but this time their firing range is going to be farther away. Okay? So now they're really far away. Darth Vader can still hit him, can still hit Luke Skywalker, but now he's at 1 range, 2 range, 3 range. Since now Luke Skywalker is at 3 range, and Luke Skywalker gets 2 agility, so before, when we were at 1 range, Luke Skywalker got to use 2 agility, right? This time, because he's at range 3, Luke Skywalker gets a 3rd agility dice, so he gets a bonus for being at this range, where Darth Vader still doesn't get a bonus for his attack, so he only gets 2 attack. So, now in this round, we'll have Darth Vader is going to shoot, so he shoots, and he rolls a miss and a miss. So Darth Vader, he completely misses Luke Skywalker from that range. But let's roll again. So we're going to do a mulligan, and hopefully we'll get a hit. There we go. This time we got a hit. So Luke Skywalker has 1 hit. Darth Vader gets 1 hit on Luke Skywalker. So Luke Skywalker has the 1 hit against him. And now he has the 3 chances to dodge. So let's see how he does in his dodging. So he dodges, and then Luke Skywalker has a dodge, so he's got 2 dodges, and then he's got a focus, which is nothing for right now. So his dodge goes with the hit, so these 2 cancel each other out. Luke Skywalker doesn't take a hit this round. So now it's Luke Skywalker's turn to attack. So Luke Skywalker, he's also at range 1, 2, and 3, but this time Darth Vader, who has an agility of 3, now because he's 1, 2, 3 away, he gets a bonus, so now he gets 4 agility dice, where Luke Skywalker still only gets to attack with 3 attack dice. So let's see how good Luke Skywalker rolls. So Luke Skywalker rolls, and he only gets 1 hit. That doesn't look so good. So he's got 1 hit. Now, Darth Vader gets a chance to dodge, so he rolls his dodge dice. Oh, he has a miss, and another miss. Uh-oh, but he's got 1 dodge. So 1 dodge with 1 attack with Luke. Luke and neither anybody takes any damage this round. So they're both in the next round. We're going to go and they're going to move. We're going to look at our dials, blah, blah, blah. Now we're going to both put them real close to each other. So let's just say they're really close again. Now Luke Skywalker, he's within 1. So there's Luke within 1 of Darth Vader. So Luke Skywalker gets the 3 plus 1, so he gets 4 attack this round. And then Darth Vader only gets 2 dodges. So he only gets 2 dodges versus Luke's 4. So let's see how Luke does. Luke only needs to hit Darth Vader 1 more time. So he rolls and he gets 1 hit. So there's 1 hit. There is the 2nd hit. And a miss. And a miss. So right now Darth Vader is looking at 2 hits at him. So let's see if he can dodge. So you're going to roll the green dice. Uh-oh. Darth Vader gets a miss. And he gets another miss. So Darth Vader takes 2 hit. So he's got 1 hit. Oops. against him, 2 hits against him, and he only had 1 hull. So since he's only got 1 hull, his hull now reaches 0, and since it's 0, Darth Vader dies. Luke Skywalker wins, flies away, blah, 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 blah. So Luke Skywalker is the winner. This is just a real quick kind of how you roll the dice, how you would attack somebody. I didn't really go over movement or any of the other things. There's a lot more to this game. This is just a real quick, this is the dice. This is how the dice work. This is just a quick, let's shoot at each other kind of tutorial. In other videos in the future, I will go over a much more detailed version of how you pick your characters, how the buffs work, how the attacking works, get into a lot more detail on movements, because you got like those movements. Here's a small 2, here's a long 3, here's a real short 2 maneuver. So these are your different maneuvers. They correspond with what's on there. So this is just a real quick overview of what's in the game, what comes with, your attack dice. I will also be going over all of my Rebel ships that I have, all of my Imperial ships. So you'll be able to see all the different ships that I have. Right now, that's pretty much every ship that's out. There's going to be a new expansion coming out later this month. This is the month of February 2014. So we're going to be seeing a new expansion with a whole bunch of new ships, which I will be purchasing and doing videos on those. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of my video. Alright, this is Star Wars X-Wing Miniature Games. And today we are going to look at my collection of TIE Fighters on the Imperial side. These are the 4 I have. I have probably 4 to 5 of each type. So I have more than just the 4, but these are the 4 different ones I have. The first one that we're going to go over and talk about is the TIE Fighter. TIE Fighter is the most iconic, bad guy ship, I think, in any space, Star Wars, Star Trek. I mean, when you think of the Imperials or you think of bad guys, you think of Darth Vader and a TIE Fighter. Not that they flew in the same ship, but you have the TIE Fighter here. The TIE Fighter is very detailed, really cool looking ship. It's probably one of my more favorite bad guy ships in any movie or TV show or video game. But this is the TIE Fighter. Very fast moving, very small, agile ship. The name of the game with that ship is Agility. It's going to dodge, and it's going to dodge everything, or try to at least. Okay, and the first pilot that we're going to go over is the Howl Runner. And the Howl Runner has an 8 in his piloting skills. He's got 2 attack, 3 agility, which is huge. All the all the Rebel ships all had 1 agility. So this is really big. 3 agility, 3 hull, and no shields. Well, when you have 3 agility, your shields, you don't need shields as much. And again, these are very small. These are little fighters. Yeah, they're supposed to be expendable. They're not supposed to be out there taking a bunch of damage. Just run in, get hit, and get out. All right. And then the next pilot is the Black Squadron pilot. He has a pilot skill of 4, attack of 2, 3, 3, and again, 0 shields. So the very next one we have is the Dark Curse. He's got a piloting skill of 6. He's got a 2 for an attack. He's got 3 agility, 3 hull, and shields. And then the very last pilot that I have is the Obsidian Squadron pilot. He's got a piloting skill of 3. He's got 2 attack, 3 agility, 3 hull, no shields. And all of these ships have a firing arc of just in front. And it's a front firing arc, right within these 2 green arrows. So all these ships are very small, they're very fast, and they're not able to take a lot of hits because they're not really supposed to. They're supposed to dodge everything. Okay, and then the next ship that I'm going to show you is the Interceptor, the TIE Interceptor, which is very cool looking ship, a very fast ship again. The interceptor is supposed to be on firepower with the the X-wing. It's the reason why it's got the 4, in front. It's got the 4 lasers. Boom, boom, boom. So you got all 4 of those right in front. All 4 of those are all going to be attacking at the exact same time. Very powerful, very fast. This is, again, the TIE Interceptor. Really cool ship. I like it a lot. A lot of detail. And then the pilots for this ship are as followed. First one is the Turnfener. Turnfener has got a piloting skill of 7. He's got an attack of 3, which is on the same par as the X-wing. Then it's got an agility of 3, hull of 3, and again, no shields. Firing arc on the ship is a forward firing arc within this green triangle. The next pilot we have is the Avenger Squad pilot. The Avenger Squad pilots all have 3 for their piloting skill. 3 attack, 3 agility, and 3 hull, 0 shields. But they don't really need shields because they're going to dodge everything. Okay, the next one is Fel's Wrath. Fel's Wrath has a 5 agility, or 5 piloting skill, 3 attack, 3 agility, 3 hull, and 0 shields. And then it's also got the basic pilot, which is the Alpha Squadron pilot. And the Alpha Squadron pilot has piloting skill of 1, an attack 3, agility 3, hull of 3, and no shields. Okay, and then the last group is the Soontir Fel. Soontir Fel has a 9 piloting skill. That's on par with Han Solo. That's 1 above Luke Skywalker. So a 9 is really high. We have an attack of 3. We have 3 agility, 3 hull, and no shields. And then we have the Saber Squadron pilot with piloting skill of 4. 3 is the attack, 3 is the agility, 3 is a hull, and 0 shields. So this is a very fast-moving, really powerful, going to shoot a whole bunch of guns at you, and it's going to try to dodge just about everything you can shoot at it. So the next next ship I have is just the TIE Bomber. This is a really big TIE ship, so it's not quite as maneuverable, but it's got a whole bunch of missiles. It's got photon torpedoes. It's got more missiles. It's got mines it can lay down all in the right side here in this hole, or this whole like actual tube. That's where they hold all of the missiles, all the bombs, all of the photon torpedoes. So this is definitely a much bigger ship. It's a very cool looking, a lot of detail again. It's very powerful. It's more along the lines of the Y-Wing, where the Y-Wing was more of like a bomber. It's going to have missiles, photon torpedoes. That's what this main ship is. This ship is not really the fighter like the X-Wing and the Interceptor. This is all about, sitting in back of the fight, from far away and shooting torpedoes, shooting at missiles at different people. So you have the TIE Bomber. Here is the pilots that go along with the TIE Bomber. And the first one is Major Rhines. Major Rhines has a piloting skill of 7, an attack of 3, a dodge of 2, so much less dodge than the other ones, but it has hull of 6. That's because it's a much bigger ship. So a hull of 6, again, no shields. We're still in the TIE ships, so none of the TIEs have any shields. Then we have the Gamma Squadron pilot with a piloting skill of 4, an attack of 2, an agility of 2, and 6 for the hull. So then the next one we have is Captain Jonas. Captain Jonas has a piloting skill of 6, an attack of 2, an agility of 2, hull of 6, and then no shields. And the last one we have is the Scimitar Squadron pilot. These guys are your basic pilots with 2 piloting skill, 2 attack, 2 shield, or 2 hull, or 2 agility, and 6 hull, 0 shields. So it's a very slow-moving ship, much like your TIE Fighter, or much like your the Y-Wing, but it's a very fast, or very high damage, throw out a whole bunch of torpedoes, throw out a whole bunch of shield, or photon torpedoes. And then the next ship we have is the TIE Advanced. Now this one you might recognize because this is the ship that Darth Vader flew in. So in the movie A New Hope, Darth Vader is flying behind Luke Skywalker while Luke Skywalker is trying to shoot off the photon torpedoes to blow up the Death Star. So this is the ship that Darth Vader flew in. This is a very cool ship. This is kind of your fast ship. It does some pretty good damage. A lot of detail on this ship. It's very cool. This is the TIE Advanced. And then the pilots that come along with the TIE Advanced are, first one, of course, is Darth Vader. Darth Vader has a piloting skill of 9, of course, because he's Anakin, and Anakin was one of the best pilots ever. In the first 3 movies and in Clone Wars, he was a super good pilot. So Anakin and Darth Vader are the same person. They both have super high ability in flying, where Luke Skywalker is only 8. So his father, Darth Vader, much more powerful with his flying. The Advanced only has 2 attack. It's got 3 agility, 3 hull, and it's the only TIE ship that actually has shields. So this ship is a really powerful ship, super maneuverable, super everything, and it's got Darth Vader as a pilot. So the next pilot is the Storm Squadron pilot. Now this Storm Squadron pilot has a piloting skill of 4, has an attack of 3, an agility of 3, a hull of 3, and shields of 2. So it's kind of nice having a little bit of shields on that ship. Okay, and then the Merrick Steele is the next pilot. He's got a piloting skill of 7, an attack of 2, agility of 3, hull of 3, and shields of 2. So Merrick Stiles, not a bad pilot at all. And then the basic pilot is the Tempest Squadron pilot. He's only got a piloting skill of 2, an attack of 2, an agility of 3, hull of 3, and shields of 2. So the TIE Advanced is a very fun ship to fly around in, especially if you use Darth Vader as your pilot. These are your 4 main TIE ships that are in Star Wars Attack Squadron. The movement dials are all pretty much the same for most of these ships. They're all really, really maneuverable. So we got like the 2 right, 2 left, 3 left. It's got the 3, then the green maneuver 3, so it can blast forward, 3 right, 3 left. It can blast forward in a 4, all of them can. They all can do the 4 U-turn or Immelman. They all can blast forward 5, so they can really move forward on the board. So they're not just moving small movements, they can just blast forward and get way out there. So that, and then all the low level 1 maneuvers are all 1. What is kind of interesting with these ships is they can't go forward 1. They can only go forward 2. So your first forward maneuver is a 2, and that's pretty much on most all of the TIE fighters. So here's the regular TIE fighter, with all the different movements. He's got the 1 hard turn, and see, no 1 forward. So none of the TIE fighters can just move 1 at a time forward. They have to move a lot. So they have to move forward. See, 1 right, and right into the 2s. So they're not going to be moving slow. They're all going to be moving forward, forward 3, forward 4, forward 5. So they can't move slow. Every TIE fighter has to move really fast across the board. These are the TIE fighters. Personally, when I fly most of my TIE fighters, I usually end up having like 3 or 4 of these. I usually have 2 of the interceptors, and then I have 1 or 2 bombers. Depends on the point value of the game. Sometimes I'll change out the bomber for Darth Vader. I like the Advanced because it does have the shields, but being able to swarm your opponents with 3 or 4, sometimes 6, TIE fighters and a couple interceptors, that's a pretty powerful combination when you have just a squadron of those guys coming at you. So these are my TIE fighters for the Imperial Navy on the game Star Wars Attack Wing miniature set. Alright, this is Star Wars X-Wing miniature game. And with Star Wars X-Wing miniature game, these are my Rebel small ships, small fighter ships. So these are all the different types. I have multiples of each one, but I'm just going to show you one of each type. So the first ship that I will start off with is the X-Wing. And as the X-Wing goes, everybody, you're pretty familiar with the way this ship is. It's a very cool, it looks just like in the movies. Very cool, fast ship with a lot of firepower on this ship. This is the X-Wing, the ship that Luke Skywalker flew, most notably in the movies. And then the pilots that come along with the X-Wing is, of course, Luke Skywalker. So you got Luke Skywalker as the very first pilot. And his piloting skills for Luke Skywalker is 8. He has 3 attack. He has 2 agility. He has 3 hull and 2 shields. He has a front firing arc, so the arc is between the 2 red lines. So he shoots from the front side of the ship. He is, a fighter ship, so it would make sense. And then the other pilot you get is a Red Squadron pilot. He only has a piloting skill of 4, but he still has the attack of 3, agility of 2, hull of 3, and shields of 2. So that's your first 2 pilots that you get with the X-Wing. Then the other pilot that you get is Biggs Darklighter. Now Biggs has a piloting skill of 5. He still has only the front firing arc. He has an attack power of 3, an agility of 2, a hull of 3, and shields of 2. So Biggs is kind of a middle-of-the-road, fighter pilot, where Luke Skywalker has a piloting skill of 8. He's not quite as good as Han Solo, but a piloting skill of 8 is pretty high in this game. So then the rookie pilot, he's just the generic pilot. There's not too much with him. He has a piloting skill of just 2, but his attack power is 3, agility is 2, shields is 3, or hull is 3, shields is 2. So those are the 4 pilots that go along with the X-Wing. Again, so that's your X-Wing. And then on the movement dial, so every ship gets a movement dial. So with the movement dial, you can move forward 1. It's a pretty maneuverable ship. You can turn to the right 1. You can turn to the left 2. A sharp turn. This is a slight turn 2. This is a forward green maneuver, forward, and a 2 to the right. Sharp turn 2 to the right. Then he's got a sharp left 3. A slight left 3, a forward 3, and of course right and left 3s. Then he can blast forward 4, which is pretty good. He also has a U-turn, so he can do a U-turn, and then we're back. So that's the maneuvering of the X-Wing. It's a pretty maneuverable ship. It's a very fast ship, and if you have Luke Skywalker piloting it, of course it's a pretty, you have a high piloting skill. So the next ship that we'll look at is the A-Wing. So this is the A-Wing. It is a super fast maneuverable ship. It's basically just a rocket and a cockpit, and that's it. You got to be pretty crazy if you're going to fly in this ship compared to most of the other ships, just for how fast this thing is and how small it is, because it's basically just a cockpit and 2 giant engines. So this is super maneuverable ship, very fast, very quick, a lot of agility. All right, and then the first pilot that you get with this one is Taicho Silichu, and he's got a piloting skill of 8. He's got 2 attacks, so a little bit less than the X-Wing, but his agility is a 3. He's got 2 hull and 2 shield. The other pilot is just the Green Squadron pilot, with that as a 3 piloting skill, a 2 attack, 3 agility, 2 hull, and 2 shields. So that's your first pilot, or the first 2 pilots. Second pilot is Arvel Krylida. I don't know. But he's got a 6 piloting skill. Again, just 2, 3, 2, 2. So it's pretty standard, loadout. And then you got the prototype pilot. And the prototype pilot is just a 1. So he's got a really low piloting skill. And he's got a 2 agility, or 2 attack, 3 agility. So he's pretty much the same as everybody else. So that guy, awesome, 3 attack. His firing arc is just in front, so he's got just the same exact firing arc as pretty much all these small ships. So that was the A-Wing. And this is the A-Wing dial. So the A-Wing dial starts off, you have, a 1 turn, a 1 sharp turn, left and right. Then you have 2 sharp left turns, you have a slight left turn, and then you have forward 2. So these are all green maneuvers. These are, maneuvers that are very easy for the ship to do. So unlike the X-Wing, their green maneuvers didn't have a sharp turn to the right, sharp turn to the left. Then it's got to turn, of course, the 3s. Then this has a blast forward of 3 on a maneuver. That's pretty, powerful, or pretty fast. Then it's got the Immelmann 3. And blast forward a green maneuver 4, so this is really fast, and it can go all the way 5. 5 is crazy. That moves really far compared to the other ships. And it also does a 5 Immelmann or U-turn. So there we go. That's the maneuver dial for the A-Wing. Then the next ship we're going to look at is the B-Wing. So this is the B-Wing, which, oops, I dropped it. Which the B-Wing, again, is a really cool looking ship. This one is very powerful, a lot of guns. It flips and turns all around the whole entire battlefield. Alright, and that's the ship, top to bottom. It's got some battle damage. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. It's a very interesting, very cool looking ship. So we got that. And then here are the pilots. So the first pilot we have is Ten Num. Ten Num has a piloting skill of 8. He's got 3 attack, 1 agility, 3 hull, but 5 shields. That's huge compared to the X-Wing and the A-Wing, with them only having 2 and 2 shields. So it's got more hull and more shields. And it's got a piloting skill of 8, so that's pretty good. Then it's got a front firing arc. Then the second pilot is the Dagger Squadron pilot. The Dagger Squadron pilot is his piloting skills of 4, attack of 3, agility of 1, hull of 3, and shields of 5. So stats are basically the same, but a piloting skill is much less with that pilot. And then the other pilot that comes with a ship is Ibistum. I am sure I'm completely butchering his name, Ibistum. But it's got a pilot skill of 6, 3 attack, 1 agility, 3 hull, 5 shields. And then you got the basic pilot, which is the Blue Squadron pilot, with an agility of 2, attack of 1, agility of 3, or piloting skill of 2, attack of 3, agility, hull, and shields. So, overall, pretty good ship. This ship is more of like a just straight up powerhouse ship. It's not, of course, as agility-wise as the 2 ships next to it. It is more of you're going to put a bunch of shields or missiles on it. You're going to put a bunch of mines. You're going to put a whole bunch of just firepower. This thing's going to blast things away from super far away. It's not going to try to get in really fast, where this ship is going to try to get in really, really fast, pop off a couple shots, zoom out of the way, come back, hit a couple more times, zoom out of the way, and come back. The X-Wing is just kind of, it's going to hang around and just pound you away with its attack dice, and it's just going to destroy you as fast as possible. This is just your straight up, I'm going to hit you as hard as I can ship. Then we have the Y-Wing. Of course, Y-Wing looks like a Y. Very cool looking ship. This is one of my more favorite ships in the Star Wars universe. I just like the way the ship looks. Looks really cool in the movies. Looks really cool as a miniature. Again, just like all the other ships, super detailed, especially for how small they are. And just like the other ships, they all are detailed right out of the box. You don't have to paint them. So the very first pilot that we have here is Horton Salam, and Horton Salam has an 8 piloting skill. It only has 2 attack dice. It has 1 agility, 5 hull. 5 hull is huge. X-Wing only has 3 hull. A-Wing has 2 hull. And the B-Wing only has 3, so 5, that's big compared to the other ones. It's got almost the same hull as like the Millennium Falcon and the Fire Spray. And then it's got 3 shields, so it's got more shields than the other ships. And then you have the Gray Squadron pilot with a piloting skill of 4, attack of 3, agility of 2 or 1, and hull of 5 again, and shields of 3. So both pilots pretty good. Then the next one you have Dutch Vendar. And Dutch has a 6 piloting skill, 2 attack, 1 agility, 5 hull, and 3 shields. And then you have the basic pilot, the Gold Squadron pilot with a piloting skill of 2, attack of 3, agility of 2, hull of 5, and shields of 3. So the B-Wing is basically a bomber, or the Y-Wing is kind of a bomber. You put, photon torpedoes on there, just like you saw in, Star Wars: A New Hope. They were going down in the trench run and trying to ship fire off the photon torpedoes. They're not much of a fighter like these 3 ships are. This ship is gonna just bomb away, hit you from far away, shoot a whole bunch of missiles, that sort of thing. So very fun ship, interesting ship to play with. Then the movement dial on this ship, is pretty much the same as all the others. It's just got the one right, 1 left, the 2s to the left, to the right. It's got the green maneuver forward 2, which is really, really nice. It does have it's got a red maneuver 3, right and left. That stresses out your ship. Where if you notice on the other 3 ships, it didn't have any, except for on the U-turns, Emelman. Then it can blast forward 3, 3 slight turn. Then it's got, of course, the red maneuver. But then if you blast forward 4, this ship takes also, it takes a stress token, because this ship is not a fast ship at all. And it also has the U-turn, just like the other ones, which is a red maneuver too. So it's not a very maneuverable ship compared to these 3. These 3 are much faster ships. This one, the Y-Wing, is a much slower ship. But again, it can equip a lot of missiles, a lot of photon torpedoes. It does high damage. You just don't want to have this ship in the middle of your, fight. You want to have this on the outside. And then lastly, the final ship is the Hawk 290. Now, the Hawk 290 is actually from the expanded universe of Star Wars. This actually came in one of the video games. And in the video game, the main character flew this ship around from planet to planet, and then you bought stuff. So this is an expanded universe where all the other ships have all actually been in the regular universe. This is the Hawk 290. It's a very, fairly impressive looking ship. A little bit different than the other ones, but that's probably because it came from a video game. It's not actually part of the Star Trek or Star Wars movies. So this is an expanded universe ship. This one is a support craft. It doesn't do a whole lot of attacking. This is all about supporting your fleet. It's going to give buffs. It's going to actually give buff. Like if it's flying in a formation like this ship will give buffs to this ship to make this one more powerful. It can give buffs to the X-Wing to make the X-Wing more powerful. It's an all-around just kind of, it's a buffing ship. It's not going to be something you want to do, you know, bring this into the middle of the fight and fight. That's what you have the X-Wing for. That's what you have the other ones for. This sits in the back. It's buffing everybody, giving everybody some cool, you know, attack and agility buffs and those sort of things. The first pilot that comes with this is Jan Ors. Jan Ors is a piloting skill of 8, so it's not too bad. Pretty good. It's only got an attack of 1. Like I said, it's not an attack-heavy ship. It's a buffing ship. Then it's got a 2 agility, which isn't too bad. It's got 4 hull, which is nice. 4 hull is very good, almost as good as the Y-Wing. But the bad part is it's only got 1 shield. But again, you're not taking the ship into the middle of the fight. This ship is going to stay in the background and let everybody else do the fighting up in front. So this is a background ship. That's why it's only got 1 shield. That's why it's only got one attack. So that's the first pilot. The second pilot is, as soon as it focuses, and that's York Garnett. And York Garnett has a piloting skill of 4. It's got an attack of 1. It's got an agility of 2. It's got hull of 4 and 1 on the shield dice. So that's the first ship, or the first pilot that it comes with. Then the second pilot that comes in the pack is Kyle Katarn. And Kyle Katarn is actually the guy that flew the ship in the video game. And Kyle has a agility of 1, attack of 2, hull of 4, you know, and so on. So pretty much all the same stats there. And then you have the Rebel Operative. This is the basic ship. It's got a 2, you know, piloting skill 1, 2, 4, 1. So it's pretty much all the same, you know, on there. So that is the Hawk 290. And then the Hawk 290's, you know, dial. If I can move this one. This one's stiff. Yeah, this one's a really stiff one. I'm going to have a hard time moving this one. But anyways, this is not a very maneuverable ship. Everything is, you know, red. You know, so you got all these red movements, which means that this ship gets stressed out. It's got a green one, another green to the right, you know, and then it's got a sharp turn 2 to the left, which is a white maneuver. You know, sharp turn to the left, and it'll move forward 2, green, so it's okay doing a forward. You know, then you got the right maneuver 2, and then it's stressed out doing anything above a 2. So you got a 3 is a stress. 3 forward isn't too bad. You know, but then again, you look, now you're going right and left are both stressed. Forward 4 is a stress. You know, and we're back in the 1. So it's not the most maneuverable ship compared to your X-Wing. A-Wing is super, super maneuverable. Your A-Wing. Your B-Wing, not as maneuverable, but this is your heavy-hitting ship. X-Wing is just your all-around good ship. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. You can fly around as Luke Skywalker. Then you got the Y-Wing, you know, which is your bomber. And then you have the Hawk 290, which is your buffing ship. And all these ships are the ships that I have right now. I have multiples of each one, but these are all of my Rebel ships for Star Wars X-Wing miniature game. Alright, this is the Star Wars X-Wing miniature game. And today I am showing my YT-1300. The Fire Spray 31, and the Lambda class shuttle. Now, Each one of these ships are a much larger ship in the X-Wing miniature game universe. As you can see, the detail on these ships is really high. There's a ton of paint work. When you buy them right out of the box, this is exactly what the ships look like. I have not painted them in any way, shape, or form. But as you can see, there's a lot of detail even on the bottom. So there's rust marks, there's paint everywhere. These look like they're almost, you could put them on your shelf somewhere. But each one of these come with a big base, and on the base they have different pilots. So the first pilot is Han Solo, and Han Solo has a piloting skill of 9. The red is how much attack power he has, so he's got 3 attack power. The green is his agility, he's got 1 agility. 8 is his hull, so he has 8 hull, and 5 is the blue, and that is his shields. So Han Solo has a much higher piloting skill than any of the other pilots that can fly in the Millennium Falcon. Now also, if you see the 2 little red marks that are going out, that is the front firing arc. So anything within this triangle area is his front firing arc. Now, the Millennium Falcon also has the ability to shoot in 360 degrees. You know, just like you see in all of the movies, the little turret that's right there can shoot 360 degrees. So this is one of the few ships that's in the game that has 360 degree firing arc. The Millennium Falcon also comes with Chewbacca. Now all the rest of the skills are pretty much the same. The 3 attack, 1 agility, 8 hull, 5 shields. But what's different is his piloting skills. Chewbacca's piloting skills is only 5 versus Han Solo's piloting skills of 9. So he's a little, not quite as good as a pilot. And then the other one it comes with is Lando Calrissian. Now Lando Calrissian has a pilot skill of 7, so he's better than Chewbacca, but not quite as good as Han, and then the attack, agility, hull, and shields are the exact same thing on each ship. And then the final pilot is just the Outer Rim Smuggler. He's just a generic, run-of-the-mill guy. He's a first-year pilot. He's only got 1 in his piloting skills, but his actual attack is less than everybody else. So he only gets 2. He gets the same amount of agility. He only gets 6 instead of 8 with the hull, and then his shields are only 4 instead of the 5. So the Millennium Falcon is a pretty awesome ship. It's got some really good pilots. It's got some high-level pilots with being the 9 and the 7. So his piloting skills with the Millennium Falcon are really, really good. This is a good ship for anybody if you're going to be running any sort of Rebel Alliance kind of style fleet. Then the next ship is the the Fire Spray 1300. And the Fire Spray 1300, of course, is Boba Fett's ship, or Jango Fett, or any number of other smugglers and bounty hunters. But as you can see, the detail is super high on this ship too. Again, this is a little bit larger than your typical X-Wing ship, but the detail nonetheless is just as good. So we got that, and then there's the base. So the base is a pretty large base. And then the first pilots that you get with this ship is Boba Fett. Now, Boba Fett only has a piloting skill of 8, so he's a little bit less than Han Solo, because Han Solo has 9. But it's got the same amount of attack power as the Millennium Falcon with 3. It's got 2 agility, where the Millennium Falcon only has 1 agility. So it's a little bit better in agility-wise. It's got 6 hull and 4 shields. So Boba Fett's a pretty decent pilot. It has a front firing arc, and it has a rear firing arc. Unlike the Millennium Falcon, it cannot shoot in 360 degrees, but it can shoot missiles and mines out the back, and it has a front firing arc for its turbo lasers and, weapons like that. Now, the other pilot that it comes with is Karsus Trilix, and he's only got a 5 piloting skills, so he's lower on the piloting skills. All the rest of the stats stay the same. The other pilot that comes with this ship is Kath Scarlet, and Kath Scarlet has a piloting skill of 7, so she's just a little bit less than Boba Fett, but she's still a very good pilot. And then it comes with the Bounty Hunter, this is the generic Bounty Hunter ship. And with the generic ship, you have a piloting skill of 3. The stats do stay the same on this one, so it's not like the Millennium Falcon. So it is a base ship, is a little bit better than the Millennium Falcon. But the captains aren't quite as good as Han Solo, but still very good piloting skills at a pilot skill of 8. And that is the Fire Spray. And then the last ship that I have out of the big ships is the Lambda class shuttle. That's the Lambda class shuttle. And this shuttle is a little bit bigger than the other ones. Detail is just as good as the other 2 ships. But what's real nice about this one is the wings fold up, just like it does in the movies. So you can have the wings are folded in or out depending on how you want to play with the ship. So this looks just like when you saw it in the movies, when it would come in and land down in the in the spaceship or Death Star or whatever. It always folded up the wings, so that's a really cool feature. It's got the little engines in the back. Very high detail, just like the other 2 ships. I really like this ship. It's a little bit different way of playing than the other 2. But this ship is a pretty powerful ship to have in your fleet. And then the pilots that it comes with is Captain. Let's get in focus. Someday it'll focus. All right. This is a pilot skill of 8. And it's got Captain Kegi, and it's got an attack power of 3. It's got an agility of 2. It has 5 hull and 6 shields. And this ship is kind of unique because it doesn't have a backwards firing arc. It only can shoot forward. So it's only got a forward firing arc. And a captain skill of 8 with Captain Kegi. Then it's got Captain Yarn. And Captain Yorn only has a piloting skill of 4. So a much lower piloting skill with this one. And then the other pilots that it comes with comes with a piloting skill of 6, and it's Colonel Jendon with, of course, the same stats, the 3, the 1, the 5, and 5. And then you have the generic pilot, the Omicron group pilot, and he's only got a pilot of 2. And all of his base stats are pretty much the same. So this is a different ship. You have to use a lot more additional cards and additional things to make this ship a pretty powerful ship, where these other 2 ships kind of start off right off the bat pretty powerful. So that's my large group of ships that I have so far. And this is for Star Wars X-Wing miniature game.